Hello everybody and welcome back to my video gaming channel. In this episode we are talking about the wonderful and groundbreaking Virtua Fighter series. 1993's Virtua Fighter is the brainchild of Sega AM2 and designer Yu Suzuki and was nothing short of a digital revolution. Virtua Racing, released a year prior, was Sega's first polygonal arcade game. But Virtua Fighter was a breakthrough that snapped heads. Powered by Sega's Model 1 board, Virtua Fighter was the world's first 3D arcade fighting game. Similar to most other fighting games, the default gameplay system of Virtua Fighter series involves two fighters needing to win 2 of 3 rounds, with each round being 30 seconds long or more. The fighters utilise various attacks in attempts to deplete the other fighter's stamina gauge and deal a knockout, winning a round. If a character is knocked out or falls out of the ring, their opponent wins the round in a ring out. An extra round is necessary if a double knockout occurs in a previous round and the match is tied 1 round each. In this round, players fight on a small stage where 1 hit is enough to knock the other out and achieve victory. The basic control scheme is simple, using only 3 buttons: punch, kick and guard. Through various timings, positions and button combinations, players input normal and special moves for each character. This allows extensive lists of moves to exist for a given character within the limited control scheme. Traditionally, in the single-player mode, the player runs a gauntlet of characters in the game all the way through to the final boss. Virtua Fighter also owes its simplistic game design to a notable lack of secondary game mechanics, such as any special meters or other emergent elements present in the vast majority of modern fighting games. In addition, every playable character introduced throughout the Virtua Fighter series utilises a fighting style heavily based in real-world martial arts. Although some creative liberties are taken for the effective execution of certain techniques and styles, the series features no supernatural powers and scarce few superhuman feats, creating a grounded and semi-realistic system of combat. The game introduces 8 initial fighters as well as the boss Jural. Let's have a look at the actual arcade game.
Fight 1, ready, go!
Sony developers have confirmed that the game inspired Sony to create the first PlayStation console and to focus more on 3D games, more so than the main competitor in Japan, the Sega Saturn. The original Virtua Fighter sold more than 40,000 arcade units worldwide by 1996, with each unit costing between $15,000 and $14,000. In 1994, Virtua Fighter was the year's highest grossing arcade game in Japan, one of the year's top 5 highest grossing arcade video games in the United States, and one of the year's most popular coin ops in the United Kingdom. For me, I love this game. I was a big fan of Yu Suzuki's 1992 Virtual Racing, which kickstarted the entire Virtual Games series. Therefore, it was only natural that I would try the Virtua Fighter game, which came out 1 year later. I was really impressed that this game felt like an actual martial arts game. For me, I preferred it much better than the 2D fighting games, including Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. For me, this game is still good today. I'm going to rate this game 8 out of 10 stars. Sega brought Virtua Fighter home for the Sega Saturn in the spring of 1994. It was a mess. The controls were too loose and the polygonal modes were flawed. It was obviously rushed in time for the Sega Saturn surprise early launch, which was another Sega blunder if I'll be honest with you. And Sega tried to make up for it later with a vastly improved Virtua Fighter remix. Action here is remarkably slower than in most fighting games of this era. This holds true even when compared to the original Street Fighter 2. Characters seem to float while jumping, like they're in a wind tunnel or something. This can be a bit jarring, especially when you're comparing it to the likes of Tekken or other games of this era. It also feels like it takes forever for your character to get up after being knocked over. It can take a bit getting used to, but I can appreciate the more methodical approach, which allows you more time to react to your opponent. This cuts down on button mashing at least. I genuinely feel sorry for any new Saturn owners stuck with this game while looking for a graphical showcase for the console. This is certainly not a good choice for that. The characters just look plain and look bad. The models are incredibly blocky with a very low polygon count. It's actually very similar to the 32X version. I don't know if that's good for the 32X version or bad for the Saturn release. The stages are also bland with almost nothing aside from the backgrounds and floor. The music fares quite a bit better with Red Book audio and some jazzy compositions that are pure Sega magic. The only thing I don't like are the low quality voice samples. When you win, your character will scream yay or something similar and it sounds fuzzy and weird. This was definitely just thrown in. So for me, Virtua Fighter was sent out to die on the Sega Saturn. This port of the arcade game was too direct and felt outdated graphically upon release. It just didn't look as good as many of the other titles for the platform. Sega knew they messed up and eventually gave us Virtua Fighter Remix with greatly enhanced graphics, thus making this version pretty unnecessary, except for collecting reasons. Virtua Fighter is timeless and fun, but with a superior edition of the game on the same platform, this release is easily skipped. Therefore, for me, I'm only going to score this game 6 out of 10 stars.
Fight! 1, ready, go! Ring out! Fight! 2, ready, go!
Well, Doc, I've been playing that new Virtua Fighter on my Genesis 32X, and it's so realistic, man, you know? Anyway, I've been getting pounded. I thought I should get my head checked out, make sure there's no damage, man. I mean, no more than usual, right, Doc? Anyway, it's got features you can't get on any other system. All the arcade characters, instant replay, 7-camera views, man, it works! What was I talking about?
Virtua Fighter on 32X.
The 32X add-on for the Genesis was an overall terrible idea and confused their fan base because the Saturn console was looming on the horizon. By modern standards, Virtua Fighter on the 32X looks pretty abysmal. Characters are blocky and the models are all composed of a very primitive number of polygons. Furthermore, backgrounds are static images and the arenas are flat and generally lack textures of any sort of detail. However, this just so happens to be one of the very best looking titles on the platform though, and there's a certain retro charm to it. The frame rate isn't quite as smooth and I would prefer it to be, but it holds steady, which is a major plus. From screenshots, this version actually compares very favourably to the Saturn edition. It's missing polygons, background details and several frames of animation, but it's surprisingly functional even with these omissions. Normally missing frames would be the kiss of death for a fighting game, but the development team did an incredibly good job at maintaining the pace. I found myself able to seamlessly go between this and the Saturn release, which is a high praise for the 32X game. Unfortunately, the soundtrack doesn't fare as well. Obviously, the cartridge format is limited in this department and it isn't particularly comparable to the Red Book tunes the CD release has. Each theme is recognisable, and although the voice samples are muffled, it is impressive that they were able to fit them in. Again, Virtua Fighter is kind of a tough sell to the modern gamer. The sheer novelty of playing an actual 3D fighting game has obviously worn off, and this one is very slow paced by the modern standards. It's still as rewarding as it ever was though. There's no instant gratification here. You actually need to learn your character's movesets and what counters what. It's a little rough around the edges, but the 32X version of Virtua Fighter is a decent choice if you're looking to try the game out. In some ways, it's even better than the Sega Saturn version, but not the remix though, mind you. And some of the gamers absolutely prefer this cartridge. Therefore, I'm going to score this game 6 out of 10. Virtua Fighter 2 was released for the Sega Saturn in 1995. Virtua Fighter 2 was critically acclaimed for its gameplay and breakthrough graphics. It introduced the use of texture-mapped 3D characters and was one of the first video games to use motion capture animation technology. The Sega Saturn version was well received for its graphics and gameplay. It became a blockbuster hit in Japan and sold relatively well in other markets, selling more than 2 million units. The arena size could be adjusted up to a very small platform or all the way up to 82 meters, 269 feet. This is the only game in the series, other than Virtua Fighter Remix, that could have such size adjustments. The physical energy meter could also be adjusted to infinity, giving the player the advantage when beating opponents or practicing moves against the computer player. Adjusting the arena to a smaller size and giving the characters infinitive health could lead to mock sumo matches. wherein victory is achieved by knocking the other player's character out of the ring. All 9 characters from the original Virtua Fighter are once again playable on Virtua Fighter 2. The sequel also adds 2 new characters, Shundi, an old drunken fist master from China, and Lion Raphael, the French son of a rich businessman who uses praying mantis style kung fu. Additionally, Shun and Lion possesses the unique ability to perform axis strikes in which they would move around the attacks of other characters, accentuating the game's 3D nature. Virtua Fighter 2 presents no narrative in-game, there is no story-based intro sequence, no narrative character endings, and very little text to supply much of the plot. However, the game was given a story in its supporting material, such as the manual for the Sega Saturn version. Virtua Fighter 2 hinges around a fighting tournament where the greatest fighters in the world seek to compete for fame and glory. However, the tournament is organised by the sinister G6 Syndicate, who intend to use the information gathered to perfect their fighting cyborg Joral, that's the game's boss, who uses a moveset made up of other characters' moves. Overall, Virtua Fighter 2 is a really good game, much improved over the first Virtua Fighter 1, and much better also than the Virtua Fighter remix. Although there are some differences between this version and the arcade version, it was pretty close. It was a very good game. I played this game for hours and hours on my Sega Saturn, so for me, I'm going to give this game 8 out of 10 stars. It's a good game and probably one of the best Sega Saturn fighting games.
Fight! 1. Ready, go! Yeah! Yeah! Excellent!
No way you can stop me!
Fight! 2.
Released in 1995, Virtua Fighter Remix was an update of the original Virtua Fighter with higher polygon models, texture mapping, and some gameplay changes. As we already know, the original early release Virtua Fighter launched alongside the Sega Saturn system. Although it did accomplish much technology-wide, it became known to Sega Saturn owners as a glitchy and buggy fighting game for the system. A while later, Sega decided to release Virtua Fighter Remix. This fixed many of the issues found in the original. This game was given free to all registered Saturn owners in the United States via mail. It had an arcade release on the STV and later ported to Microsoft Windows as Virtua Fighter PC. Let's have a look at the game.
Fight! 1. Ready, go! KO! Fight! 1. Ready, go!
I am pleased to say that this version of the game is much improved over the first Virtua Fighter. Therefore, I'm going to rate this game 7 out of 10 stars. The game also came with what's called Virtua Fighter CG Portrait Series, which was also a welcome add-on. Let's have a look at that as well. Virtua Fighter 2 on the Genesis, is that even possible? The answer is no, of course, and this game proved perhaps better than any other in the past that hardware transition can be dangerous to navigate. Virtua Fighter 2 arrived on the Genesis in 1996 in an excessively watered down, nearly unrecognisable port that failed to capture even a hint of the magic of the arcade original. Genesis couldn't do 3D, and 3D was almost the entire hook for the Virtua Fighter series. Genesis couldn't handle all the moves or the combos, or even all the characters. What arrived on the Sega 16-bit system may have said Virtua Fighter 2 on the box, but what was found inside was anything but that. Dearie me, let's have a look at the gameplay.
Fight! 1, ready,
Okay, that's enough. It's rubbish. Let's give it 4 out of 10. Virtua Fighter Kids is also an installment in the Sega AM2 Virtua Fighter game series. This is basically a super deformed version of Virtua Fighter 2. It was released in the arcade and on the Sega Saturn in 1996. Unlike Virtua Fighter 2, it was developed on the STV board. All the characters have big heads and the music is at a faster pace. The gameplay itself is slightly tweaked from the Virtua Fighter 2. The Saturn version includes some new full motion videos and programmable button sequences to allow players to test and use pre-made combos. Despite being children, some of the fighters retain the adult characteristics of the Virtua Fighter 2 counterparts, such as facial hair, muscles and breasts. Let's have a little look at the game then.
Fight! 1. Ready! Go!
I'm faster than lightning!
Fight! 2. Ready! Go! Fight! 1. Ready! Go!
I'm faster than...
Fight! 2. Ready! Go!
No way you can stop me!
Fight! 1. Ready! Go!
Virtua Fighter Kids is a fine, fun game. However, with players who already own Virtua Fighter 2, I wouldn't really go out and spend my money on this game. The original Virtua Fighter 2 and Virtua Fighter Remix satisfy Saturn beat-em-up urges just fine. Therefore, I'm going to rate this game 6 out of 10 stars.
I'm faster than lightning!
Fighters Megamix was released in 1996 by Sega AM2 for the Sega Saturn. It is a video game crossover of various 3D arcade blockbusters by Sega, from the complete cast of Virtua Fighter 2 and Fightin' Vipers to Janet from Virtual Cop 2 and even the Hornet car from Daytona, USA. It also allows players to play as the bosses of both Virtua Fighter 2 and Fightin' Vipers without codes. Fighters Megamix utilised the concept originally used by the King of Fighters, whereby characters and styles from different games were mixed together. The open-ended rings from Virtua Fighter are present, but with no ring out, and also the closed cages from Fightin' Vipers. The Virtua Fighter characters have new moves taken from Virtua Fighter 3, including the dodge move, which allows characters to sidestep, avoiding a dangerous blow, and opening at the same time room for a counter-attack. Upon release, it was hailed as one of Saturn's best games, with critics deeming its crossover mechanics as a complete success and met with strong sales. Unlike most of the AM2 games of the era, Fighters Megamix did not have an arcade release. Fighters Megamix includes a training mode, a survival mode, a 2-player versus mode, a team battle mode and a 1-player mode split into 9 tracks, which includes the Novice Trial for beginners, Virtua Fighter, which is all the characters from Virtua Fighter, Fightin' Vipers, all the characters from the Fightin' Viper games, Girls, Muscles, strong characters, Smart Guys, Dirty Fighters, Bosses and Secrets, which is the rest of the bonus characters not fought in the bosses. Each of these tracks consists of 6 fights against currently available characters, followed by a final battle against a hidden character. Once the first 4 tracks are completed, the next 3 become unlocked. And after beating those, the next track, which is the bosses, becomes unlocked, and then the final bonus. The player has the option of switching play type between Fightin' Vipers and Virtua Fighter, which causes the characters to fight in either the walled arenas of the former or the open arenas of the latter, and use a basic fighting style of corresponding game.
Ready.
The default cast of characters consists of the entire cast from Virtua Fighter 2 and Fightin' Vipers, as well as Kuma-chan, which is a bear mascot in a hat. The Virtua Fighter 2 characters have some but not all of their moves from Virtua Fighter 3 added. The announcer is also the same as in Virtua Fighter 3. The Fightin' Viper characters still have their armour, and the Virtua Fighter 2 characters accordingly have new moves for breaking that armour. As we know, there are plenty of fighting games on the Saturn, but this is definitely one of the best fighting games. Perhaps one slight criticism is that the graphics, while good, do use fewer polygons and a lower resolution than the Saturn version of Virtua Fighter 2. The game became one of the best-selling Sega Saturn games, with over 600,000 copies sold in Japan alone. In the United States, it was the top Saturn video game rental for 3 months in 1997, from June to August. For me, Fighters Megamix is a very good game. Overall, I would rate this game 8 out of 10 stars. Okay, let's have a look at some of the bonus characters that we find in Fighters Megamix.
Fight. Ready, go! Fight! Ready, go! Fight! Ready, go! Fight! Ready, go!
Okay, so now we're looking at Virtual Fighter Animation, also known as Japan as Virtual Fighter Mini. Virtual Fighter Animation is a 1996 fighting game for the Game Gear and Master System. It is based on the Virtual Fighter anime series. The main mode of gameplay is a story mode, which shows cutscenes between stages. Unusually for a Virtual Fighter game, this meant a restricted choice of characters, as each one is unlocked after being beaten in the story. Virtual Fighter Animation offers 3 viewing modes: normal, large and real-time. Real-time was an effort to recreate the zoom-in camera effects of the 3D Virtual Fighter games by swapping between small and large sprites to represent distance. The Sega Master System version of Virtual Fighter Animation was only released in Brazil, where it was produced officially by Tech Toy. It is identical to the Sega Game Gear version, except it lacks the viewing modes of it and uses the English script from the international releases. Okay, so how am I going to rate this 8-bit game? Well, for a start, the graphics of the 2D fighting game are pretty good for a Master System. The cutscenes look pretty cool, and it does drive the story forward. However, despite the good looks and reasonable sound and music, there is a catch. There is very little gameplay to this game, very little content. I would say that most people will beat this game within the hour. After the very cool intro screen, you get to choose your fighter from a total of 8 characters. After that, it's off to fight in 2D. There's not really much else I want to say about this game. It's just too easy and it's too shallow to really enjoy. Therefore, I'm going to rate this game 5 out of 10 stars. Virtua Fighter 3 is a sequel to 1994's Virtua Fighter 2 and the third fighting game in the Virtua Fighter series, developed by Sega M2 and published by Sega in 1996. It was the first arcade game to run on the Sega Model 3 system board. Like its predecessors, Virtua Fighter 3 was a major hit in the arcades, selling 30,000 arcade cabinets worldwide. In Japan, it was the 4th highest grossing arcade game of 1996 and the overall highest grossing arcade game of 1997. A port for the Sega Saturn was announced but ultimately cancelled. However, the game eventually reached home consoles in the form of a conversion for the Dreamcast. Virtua Fighter 3 Team Battle is an update version of Virtua Fighter 3 that features battles between teams of various fighters who fight each other one at a time, as well as new moves and other tweaks. This team battle version was later released on the Sega's Dreamcast console, being one of its launch games, becoming one of the best-selling Dreamcast games in Japan. Virtua Fighter 3 was intended to be a launch title for the Dreamcast in North America, but it was delayed. Although it did eventually come to North America, it wasn't nearly as successful as it was in Japan. The plot of the story goes as follows. Judgment 6, an organisation seeking global domination, are hosting a third fighting tournament. The characters all enter to achieve their personal goals. Some wish to challenge Judgment 6 and uncover the group's secrets. Keiji Maru won the tournament, whose actual speciality is jiu-jitsu, has a vendetta against the syndicate that killed his father. The syndicate also took his mother away from him and made her as one of their fighters. He made an impressive showing as a fighter during the first tournament, but was not able to find much information on Judgment 6, although he did receive word that his mother is still alive. He hopes to learn more the second time round. In the past tournament, he succeeded in saving his mother. He learns that his mother was transformed into Dural. Cage was eventually able to get his mother back. For many months, Cage and his mother lived in a peaceful life in a small hidden village. When about a year had passed though, Cage's mother was suddenly struck by a mysterious illness. Cage's investigation into her ailment revealed that it was an after effect of her transformation into Dural. And now he is entering the new tournament to find out what connection this has to the new model Dural. After winning this world tournament, Cage managed to recover a part from the new type Dural. He used that part on his mother, hoping it would cure her. However, the plan backfired. Not only did his mother not recover, it caused his mother to transform back to Dural. Wow, this is very complicated. She then immediately attacked Cage. Sensing no way out, Cage decides to kill her in order to end her suffering. He was nearly successful, but she managed to escape and was ultimately rescued by J6. Cage then hears of the fourth world tournament and decides to enter the tournament with every intention to kill Dural. He's a nice son, isn't he? Anyway, let's have a look at the game.
Fight 1, ready, go! Fight 2, ready, go! Fight 1, ready, go! Fight 2, ready, go! Fight 1, ready, go! Fight 2. Ready, go! Fight 3. Ready, go!
So, how does the Dreamcast version of the Virtua Fighter 3 Team Battle compare with the arcade version? Actually, it compares very well. While the American version adds little else aside from a versus mode, which was somehow omitted from the Japanese debut, it's not so much that the features that have been improved, but that little glitches found elsewhere in the game have been removed. Gone is the slowdown when the camera zooms into certain arenas. The shadows that were found to be so imperfect have also been patched up a bit, so that the breakup found on uneven surfaces such as stairs is not nearly as problematic as it had been. However, even in the original import version, these problems were merely superficial and never actually interfered with the gameplay. Graphically, the character models in the game suffer from a lower polygon count than the models found in the arcade version, resulting in some odd blockiness at times. Keep in mind that the occasional blockiness doesn't stop Virtua Fighter 3 from looking better than 99% of the other fighting games out there at that particular time. Other touches like the loose fabric-like qualities of Jackie's jacket have been lost, along with a couple of other minute inconsistencies with the arcade version. However, all in all, developer Genki did an admirable job with the AM2's technical baby, and almost all of this is just nitpicking. Certain stages have lost a couple of bits of polish along the way, like AO's stage, where the water and snow aren't arcade perfect, or the desert stage, where you no longer leave footprints in the sand. For the most part, the stages look absolutely amazing. Pi's rooftop level and Sarah's subway arena are practically pixel perfect, and they offer unique strategic possibilities that no other fighter has. However, the downside is that aside from the standard game, there is still little else to hold your interest once you have beaten the one-player mode. While it can be argued that the game itself is littered with endless replay value, truly there is little incentive for anyone other than the hardcore Virtua Fighter fan. For some, this may be enough, but for others spoiled on the fruits of Soul Calibur, this game is little more than a direct port of the arcade game. That is no mean feat considering that this game was an arcade elite just a couple of years ago, costing upward of $4,000 depending on the size of the monitor attached. Now it can be in your home nearly arcade perfect for $50. Unfortunately, Namco has since proven, on Sega's own turf no less, that this can be bettered by a sizable stretch. Virtua Fighter is a great game that has a few flaws. As a port, it comes up a little shy of what's considered standard nowadays. While the game offers everything that a Virtua Fighter fan would need, the average gamer, unable to master the complexities found in the fighting engine, I find the process and the resultant award daunting and ultimately unfulfilling. While the TB edition may have seemed novel when it was released in Japanese arcades a few years back, it's all but standard practice now. The same goes for Time Attack, Survival Mode and the rest. Virtua Fighter 3 seems a little too late to be revolutionary. That said, Virtua Fighter 3TB is nearly a perfect port of an excellent game whose ideas and innovations are no longer the trendsetters they once were. So in summary, Soul Calibur is still the better choice, but Virtua Fighter fans will find all they need neatly wrapped up in this package. Highly recommended if you know what you're doing. Therefore, I'm going to rate this game 7 out of 10 stars. Virtua Fighter 4 was released in the arcades on the Naomi 2 board in 2001. A console port of Virtua Fighter 4 as well as Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution under the budget price Greatest Hits label appeared on the Sony PlayStation 2 in 2002 and 2003 respectively. Virtua Fighter 4 lets you play as any of the 11 classic characters or 2 newcomers. For me, this version of Virtua Fighter contains far more added value for the home gamer than any other Virtua Fighter console port, or indeed all the last 3 put together and then some. The PlayStation 2 version's interface is remarkably beautiful, showing the way to a new set of game modes with a superb set of menus, and on top of the keen design, there are some serious meaty options to dig through. Training mode includes 3 different modes: command training to learn moves, free training to apply them, and trial mode to practice overall strategy with a series of tutorials and tests. AI system provides an amusing diversion by letting you train a CPU-controlled fighter on your own, pitting it against other AI fighters like a sort of virtual fighter Pokemon. And then, of course, there is the Qmit mode. In the Qmit game, players carry magnetic identity cards encoded with their fighter data, their record wins, losses, tendencies, and best of all, unlock character items. They would record wins, losses, tendencies, and best of all, unlock character items. After creating and saving a player file on a memory card, you do battle against a nearly endless string of opponents meant to represent the locals at the local arcade. Each has a ranking, a record, a customised look, and their very own goofy nickname, a custom that's very popular in Japanese virtual fighter circles. Battling them earns you increase in rank, which in turn leads to more difficult competition, and every so often a little treasure chest opens up and out pops a new toy. The items are brilliant fun. There are more than 400 between all the characters, and they're inventive enough to be a genuinely impressive reward. Even a new set of earrings or an alternative hat is neat to look at, since the vast majority of extras are modelled in 3D and effectively melded with the characters' models. What may even be better than all the characters' items, however, is the genuine variety and depth of challenges that appears in the arcade mode. The ranking scale includes more than 24 different classes, and it's not smooth sailing the entire way. More advanced opponents are much more difficult to beat, and not just because they have a perfect block and reversal timing. The AI actually displays a greater grasp of the breadth and depth of the fighting system. To top it all off, there is something like 800 fights worth of this before it's possible to reach the highest rank. So settle down for a long World Grapple Tournament. This inspires the question, would I actually want to play 800 fights worth of Virtua Fighter 4? For me, the answer was simply yes. I loved this game and played it for many hours. Try it, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. For me, very simply, I'm going to score this game 8 out of 10 stars. Really good game. Okay, let's watch more of the arcade game here.
Opponent.
The show's gonna begin right now!
Fight 1! Ready, go!
Excellent!
Fight 1! Ready, go!
Excellent!
さて、戦いましょうか。
Fight 1! Ready, go! Fight 1! Ready, go! Ring out!
What are you doing? Get away!
Fight 1! Ready, go!
Ready?
Fight 1! Ready, go! Fight 1! Ready, go! Ring out!
Come on, let's rumble!
Fight 1! Ready, go! Fight one! Ready, go! Fight one! Ready, go!
Feel the real power.
Fight one! Ready, go!
So you're my opponent. Won't you take it easy on me?
Fight one! Ready, go! Fight one! Ready, go! Fight one! Ready, go!
Evolution is an updated version of Virtua Fighter 4. The game introduced 2 new characters and adjusted every other character as well. In addition to that, all of the stages were adjusted. For example, Leafy's stage in Virtua Fighter 4 previously took place during sunset. In Evolution it takes place during the morning. There are many features and new improvements to this game, making it a better Virtua Fighter 4. This includes not only improved graphics, but various other items such as new item store in quest mode, a currency system in quest mode, opponent tracking log in quest mode, increased number of character items, improved ranking systems, special gameplay modes, emblem collecting, new ring style, and so on. I really enjoyed this game. it was a much better Virtua Fighter 4, which was already a great game. For me, I'm going to rate this game 9 out of 10 stars. Let's have a look at the game.
Feel the real power.
Here I come.
Fight one! Ready? Go! KO! Fight two! Ready? Go! KO!
Did you feel the real power? Go back to school.
Fight one! Ready? Go! KO! Fight one! Ready? Go!
Take that!
KO! Come on! Fight one! Ready? Go! KO! Fight one! Ready? Go!
Take that!
Time's up! Fight one! Ready? Go! KO! 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 Fight two! Ready? Go!
With the 2003 PlayStation 2 release of Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution, arriving in time for the series' 10th anniversary, a remake of Virtua Fighter 10th Anniversary, was released exclusively on the PlayStation 2. While the music, stages and low polygon visual style were retained from the first game, the character roster, animations, mechanics and movesets were taken from Evolution. In the previous PlayStation 2 release of Virtua Fighter 4, a button code would make the player's character look like a Virtua Fighter 1 model. In Japan, the game was included as part of a box set with a book called Virtua Fighter 10th Anniversary, Memory of a Decade and a DVD. The box set was released in November 2003 and was published by Enterbrain. In North America, the game was included within the home version of Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution, and in Europe it was only available as a promotional item. It was not sold at retail. Let's have a look at the game.
Fight one! Ready? Go!
Take that!
KO! Fight one! Ready? Go! Fight one! Ready? Go! Ready? Go! KO!
Fight one. Ready? Go! Fight! Fight one. Ready? Go! Fight! Fight! One. Ready? Go! Fight 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 one. Ready? Go!
Okay, so what did I think about this game? Well, I liked it. It was like a super deluxe version of Virtua Fighter 1. Smooth graphics, all the characters from the first game and the new game. I like this game, really good, and for that reason I'm going to give this 8 out of 10 stars.
the only one who can. I'm the only one who can use Virtua Souls.
Virtual Quest, also known in Japan as Virtua Fighter Cyber Generation Ambition of the Judgment 6, is a Virtua Fighter spin-off title co-developed by Toei and Sega AM2 and published by Sega for the GameCube and PlayStation 2 video game consoles. Virtual Quest is basically an action role-playing game by Sega based on the highly acclaimed Virtua Fighter series. This role-playing game is decidedly below average. Taken within the context of the Virtua Fighter franchise, Virtual Quest is a failure. No matter how much you look at the game, it is an utter waste of anyone's time. The game's downright silly connection to Virtua Fighter is readily apparent in its throwaway story. The game does not star Akira or Jackie or any of the roster in the lead role, but rather some stupid kid named Sia. Already this is disappointing because when I think about Virtua Fighter, I want to play as Akira, Jackie or one of the other awesome cool fighters, not some wet behind the ears twerp like Sia pretending to be Akira, Jackie or whoever. And what really sucks is that Sia is completely devoid of any personality and has no mind of his own. He's actually stupid, complete with permanently clueless facial expressions. All he seems to do is repeat back everything that's said to him like a complete idiot and go along with what people tell him to do like a brainless follower. And don't get me started on the unlikable NPCs that Sia encounters. A couple of them are more annoying than Sia himself and make me want to punch kittens. Anyway, this is how the story goes.
Increase your rank by taking more advanced tests.
Through a series of unfortunate events instigated by his so-called best friend, Sia must warp to various virtual worlds within a network called the Nexus, find the legendary virtual souls and various virtual fighters, harness their power before the bad guys do, and save the world from their evil takeover. That's it. That's the story in a nutshell. Even with the surprisingly lengthy and talky cutscenes throughout the game, characters babble on about nothing at all, and the plot is as shallow as it gets. It does not help that the voice acting during cutscenes is laughably bad.
What? Who are you?
Now let's talk about the gameplay.
For you to stay here any longer. Leave now.
Sia's home base is a central hub with shops, information counters, a save point, NPCs to do inane quests for, and warps to various virtual worlds within the Nexus. Exploring the virtual worlds requires Sia to swing from nodes with his grappling hook, briefly run along walls and hang off ledges as well as run and jump. When Sia enters a virtual world for the first time, he cannot log out of it until the boss is beaten. Thankfully, there are save points scattered throughout the virtual worlds, and once an area is cleared, Sia can revisit, seek hidden treasure and log out whenever he wants. The Nexus also has legions of incompetent thugs for Sia to beat up on the way to boss battles. To help Sia fight bad guys, virtual souls are scattered throughout the world for him to find. These virtual souls house the combat data of the virtual fighters, and when Sia finds one, he must best the fighter in combat to learn and equip the special move. Although this hints at depth, the simplistic two-button combat in the game is shallow and a far cry from the deep and complex fighting systems Virtua Fighter is known for.
Why?
Very well. Now I shall teach you the true strength of Hakyoku Ken. Ha! 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 This is Moko Kohazan. Your fist shall be the power that allows you to forge your own path.
Now let me see your determination.
This game is not Final Fantasy. There is a laundry list of flaws that make the game an absolute nuisance to play. Sluggish controls, floaty jumping on a wholly uncooperative camera, and an equipment system that feels like putting a square peg into a round hole are the pieces of this bad gameplay puzzle. An action game should have super tight control, especially one based on the acclaimed fighting franchise known for precise control. The camera cannot be rotated at all. There is only a one-touch button to center the camera behind Sia, and the camera still managed to get that wrong more often than not. No matter what, the camera always proceeds to go wherever it wants, and it is never where the player wants it to be. The loose controls combined with an uncooperative camera, floaty, jumpy and finicky auto-targeting system make combat and platforming more frustrating and downright cheap than need be. It is too easy for players to screw up because they are fighting with the control and or the camera. This is obviously not the kind of combat players want in a fighting game. Another key ingredient in most successful fighting games is the adrenaline pumping music that makes players want to kick some butt. Yet, once again, Virtual Quest gets it wrong by using bland, forgettable music that changes only slightly when enemies are nearby. At least the Virtual Soul battles play those characters' respective theme songs, which are generally the best pieces in the game. With regards to the graphics, they're good but not great. The 3D locations are bright and the polygon characters animate smoothly, but as clean as the visuals are, they are always quite sterile. The locations lack flair and the characters all have glassy-eyed expressions, making them look like spaced out dolls. The character designs are quite generic as well, a sharp contrast from the cool character designs in the Virtua Fighter series. So in summary, the whole idea of a Virtua Fighter role-playing game could have been fantastic, but a twerpy protagonist, lame plot, sluggish control, an uncooperative camera, boring music and bland visuals are not ingredients that make for a good action game, especially one based on such an acclaimed fighting franchise. This game was largely ignored by gamers, and for good reason. Virtual Quest is just plain awful and a disgrace to the Virtua Fighter moniker. Therefore, I'm only going to give this game 4 out of 10 stars. Rubbish. Virtua Fighter 5 is the 5th installment in Sega's Virtua Fighter series of arcade fighting games, and was ported to the PlayStation 3, for which it was released February 2007, and was a launch title for the console's European release in March 2007. Virtua Fighter 5 isn't a huge leap over the PlayStation 2's Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution. However, it does offer a number of everyone's friendly improvements that make it the most accessible installment yet. Faster gameplay, reworked combos, several of which chain more naturally, and healthy customization options should get people hooked and fast. Virtua Fighter's satisfying gameplay can be attributed to one major factor: character balance. Virtua Fighter has done a stand-up job of giving users a legitimate chance with every last warrior in the lineup. Sure, there are some overpowered moves here and there, but they are minimal at best and are easily recognised after a couple of matches. This means that 90% of the time, good Akira players match up well against good Paya-chan users, and advanced AO users won't dominate advanced Vanessa players. From a mechanical standpoint, there's nothing more important in a fighter than that. When playing against other human beings, Virtua Fighter 5 is incredibly satisfying. Even when getting your ass handed to you by a superior player, the smooth controls and deep combat compel you to play more. Unfortunately, brawling with the AI isn't nearly as gratifying since the CPU is actually quite tepid. In fact, unless you crank the difficulty all the way up, the majority of your opponents are surprisingly lazy and offer little retort to a series of fists in their face. Constant hit and run tactics combined with quick rush throw techniques will take out most sub-elite rivals and will still deal serious damage on even the heaviest hitters. This weak AI is softened a bit by the inclusion of the addictive quest mode, which simulates the practice of travelling to various arcades and challenging the world's best players. It's surprisingly engrossing, throws hundreds of AI-powered foes at you, and serves as a primary way to gain new items for character customizations. The sheer number of modifications that can be made by a single fighter are immense. Specific items for 17 different characters with 4 outfits each means plenty of unlockables, and the fact that you can save up to 30 unique characters per PlayStation ID means that you can expect an abundance of variety. Virtua Fighter 5 kicks a whole lot of ass. It offers one of the most initiative and robust fighting systems ever assembled, and the customization options and quest mode are great fun. Okay, granted, the AI isn't very good. It has a couple of interface issues and the lack of online is a major negative, but the mechanics here are so amazing that it doesn't hurt the overall package as much as it would in other games. Overall, I like this game a lot and I played it a lot. I'm going to give this game 8 out of 10 stars.
The big-time player is here.
Round 1. Ready, go! Knockout!
I won't go easy on you.
Round 1. Ready, go! 時は来たれ。行くぞ。はあ。よし、行くぞ。Round 1. Ready, go! Knockout!
What are you waiting for? Come get some.
Round 1. Ready, go!
All right.
Ring out!
Unlike Virtua Fighter 5, which got a full retail release, Final Showdown was released only as a budget downloadable title. Because of space restrictions, only the A and B costumes are included in the game, and additional costumes and customization items are sold as DLC. This also means that there is no commit or quest mode as in the previous titles. Unlike the arcade version, which had old stages from Virtua Fighter 5 selectable, only the new Final Showdown stages are available. However, the game does include an extensive tutorial mode, online play and soundtracks from previous Virtua Fighter games. Animations and graphics look more refined and sharper than ever before, adding an extra greater level of precision. The online multiplayer has seen a huge overhaul, as well with an improved 8-player lobby system. And yes, this is the first time PlayStation 3 players were able to take the fight online. Too bad they had to wait so long just for these additions. Overall, the game is good. I'm going to give the game 8 out of 10 stars, just like I did in the previous game. Let's have a look at the game.
I won't go easy on you.
Round 1. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 2. Ready, go! Knockout!
あなたにはクンフーが足りないわ。
Can't ever picture you winning.
Round 1. Ready, go!
Oh, not bad.
Knockout! Round 2. Ready, go!
私の強さを見せてやろう。
Round 1. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 1. Ready, go! Knockout!
よろしゅうお頼申します。
Round 1. Ready, go! Knockout!
この時を待ってたぜ。
Round 1. Ready, go! Knockout!
An enhanced remaster of the game titled Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown was announced in May 2029 in celebration of Sega's 60th anniversary. It was released worldwide exclusively for PlayStation 4 on June 1st, 2021. "15 years on, Ultimate Showdown finds Virtua Fighter 5 just as engaging as it ever was, maintaining its long-held reputation as one of the genre's classiest and most enduring fighters. Woeful single-player content and receding features prevent the package from achieving its full potential. But, despite its flaws, Ultimate Showdown costs little, looks good, and plays great. It's a welcome return to one of the gaming's most distinguished rings. For me, I'm also going to give this game 8 out of 10 stars. It's such a great game. Let's have a look at the game.
You'll enjoy this, trust me. Ready?
Round 1. Ready, go! Excellent!
You've got zip.
Round one. Ready, go! Excellent! Round one. Ready, go! Knockout! Round one. Ready, go! Knockout!
Well, there you go, folks.
I'll show you what combat's all about.
That's my extensive look at the Virtua Fighter series. If you stayed to the end of this video, then I must thank you very, very much. Together, we looked at 17 games of the Virtua Fighter series. Who would have thought it, eh? 17 games. However, I have to say, I think Sega really need to get their act together and bring out Virtua Fighter 6. I mean, come on, it's been 16 years since they brought out Virtua Fighter 5 on the PlayStation 3. Far too long. It's quite embarrassing, really, if I'll be honest with you. Anyway, it's time for our wrap. Until the next time, you beautiful people, I have to say goodbye now. Take care. Bye-bye.